WWE is the biggest professional wrestling company in the world. It has put on excellent storylines and matches ever since the Attitude Era, but that doesn't mean that the company on several different occasions didn't get desperate to include segments that were either too embarrassing to sit through or got us yelling, "Oh my God!" at the top of our lungs. Last time, we looked at the top TV-14 moments that would never air in today's WWE PG era, and today, we've gathered even more moments for every single one of you that the WWE creative wouldn't even dare to put on television today. Let's get into it. The Bra and Panties match. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. Bra and panties matches used to be a major thing back in the day. If it isn't obvious already, the female superstars of the past mainly focused on the entertainment side of things rather than the wrestling aspect of the show. If you haven't figured it out yet, the stipulation of the match sees two female stars who begin the match in their regular attire, and the only way to win is by stripping your opponent down to their undergarments. While fans to this very day wonder why this match even came into existence in the first place, it's no secret that our good old Vince loved some intimate female matches. Did you know that even legends like Trish, Stratus, and Lita have battled for the WWE Women's Championship in this stipulation? If not, you'll be surprised to hear that Trish Stratus has appeared in this matchup on multiple occasions, giving us more reasons that excellent wrestlers like her were performing in the wrong era. Or the right era for some of us fans. While these matchups did help increase the ratings, PG rules will certainly not allow WWE to revisit this unusual stipulation. The PG rating will also not allow the company to feature elderly women, giving the audience a nightmare, as we'll see in the next segment. Mae Young goes all in. You may remember Mae Young for taking major bumps in her old age, or for all those comedy spots, but she is widely considered one of the greatest and most respected female wrestlers of all time. She influenced generations of performers, but there was a time when WWE used its TV-14 rating on Mae Young. Back at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in 2000, WWE put on a segment called the Miss Rumble 2000 Swimsuit Contest. Sounds fascinating, right? Absolutely not. While the segment was just like any other swimsuit contest, fans remember it mainly for one thing: Mae Young flashing her front to the audience. No, we're not kidding at all. While Mae was actually wearing a prosthesis and didn't really expose herself, it was still a weird sight for the fans in attendance. The judges of the contest were so over the moon with Mae's participation and her antics that they declared Mae the winner of the contest. Well, Mae's strategy did pay off in the end, but make no mistake, WWE won't be letting any female star flash her top, let alone an old female superstar. Bra and panties matches? Swimsuit contests? Can it get any worse? Why, yes. Vince humiliates Trish. Poor Trish Stratus. She made an appearance in our last video, and she's appearing multiple times in this one too. Trish is one of the best female superstars to grace the squared circle, and it's a shame that we had to witness her getting humiliated inside the ring, even if it was for just an angle. To keep things simple, Trish was part of a storyline with Vince McMahon, who was in a feud with his own family in the early of 2001. Trish aligned herself with Vince but ended up on the wrong side of the fence when Vince turned on her. In an episode of Raw, Vince crossed every single line when he forced Trish to get down on her knees and crawl like a dog. He proceeded by forcing Trish to bark like a dog. What came next brought the entire crowd to life. Vince forced Trish to strip down to her bra and panties, yet again. Vince then went a step further by forcing Trish to take off her bra. Of course, she didn't do it entirely, as that would have brought massive heat to the entire company. All in all, Trish is to be commended here for being a professional and being brave enough to say yes to this kind of segment. Thank God Vince won't be returning and forcing more female stars to put up with his intimate desires. Stone Cold pulls out a gun. The three stars who came to mind when someone talks about the Attitude Era are Stone Cold, The Rock, and Vince McMahon. Steve's chemistry with Vince was just something else. When it comes to portraying an anti-corporate gimmick, no one does it better than Steve. You could make a case that both Steve and Vince were each other's best rivals. The two have produced phenomenal segments that will be remembered for generations to come. One of the most memorable segments that both Steve and Vince put on revolved around Steve kidnapping Vince, and on an episode of Raw in 1998, Steve brought out Vince to the ring and held Vince at gunpoint. Vince lost his mind, and he even pissed his pants. No one expected Steve to pull the trigger, but he did. It turned out that the gun was actually a toy gun, and it fired a flag that had BANG 316 written on it. The segment was a great one, and it furthered the storyline between Steve and Vince. Now, you must be wondering, why wouldn't this work today, as it was simply a prank that involved a toy? Well, gun violence is a disturbing and sensitive issue these days. WWE doesn't want to get in more trouble amidst all of what is happening right now. Other than that, it would be hard for the WWE social media manager to fight off 30 million users on Twitter. Just kidding. Kinda. Vince makes fun of Jim Ross. It is still baffling to think that WWE does its best to promote its anti-bullying campaign, yet the company has done the complete opposite on live television. Jim Ross is the greatest wrestling commentator of all time, yet he has been part of some of the weirdest segments ever, and it's not even his fault. WWE on countless occasions have made fun of Jim Ross. One of those occasions was when Vince performed colon surgery on Jim in 2005. It was as weird as you could imagine. Vince proceeded to pull items from Ross's butt, with one of those items being Ross's famous barbecue sauce. This was both pathetic and shameful. WWE won't dare to do something like this again, especially when the majority of the performers are helping to promote the company's anti-bullying campaign. Well, if Vince ends up taking creative control back, don't be surprised to see something hideous like this again. Kurt Angle stalks Booker T's wife. The list just keeps on getting crazier. Kurt Angle, who was regarded as an all-time great performer, stalked Booker T's wife Charmell during his feud with Booker T in 2005. The Wrestling Machine tried to one-up Booker T by harassing Charmell. This was a weird feud, and seeing an excellent superstar like Kurt do it felt wrong on so many levels. For weeks, Kurt was so confident in saying things that would never air in today's era. Want a glimpse? Kurt claimed that Charmell had molested him. Only God knows if Kurt actually got what he wanted to do with Charmell, as the feud ended before it even got any weirder. It doesn't seem like WWE would be going back to the TV-14 rating anytime soon. Until then, we'll have some of these memories, and can only hope that WWE doesn't provide us with segments like these in the PG format, as those segments would make us switch the channel in a second. Stay tuned for part 3. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe for more.